What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with the overall market and Tesla stock. I'm going to break down some big news that came out from President Trump that's causing Tesla stock to crash so far. So just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000 and you're guaranteed 25 in total. Deposit $5,000 and you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends at the end of July, so check it out before they run out. It ends in just about 4.5 weeks from now. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, I just want to say that there's a head and shoulders pattern that we were talking about yesterday. I warned you all to watch that 317 area on Tesla. I said if we lost this and we can't reclaim this, we are expecting this to dump. And we actually dumped really hard. We're actually down 6% in the pre-markets. And there's going to be a risk of even more downside. Tesla's not only dipping, but we could continue to fall down towards these lows. I think there's going to be a big downside move coming because of what just came out from President Trump. So what's going on? Let's talk about the news and I'll break down something else. So as you know, Elon Musk was working with President Trump on the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge. And once again, as they were working together, Elon ended up turning his back on President Trump to an extent because he disagreed with the spending bill. He said that it's going to once again kill jobs. It's going to be very hurtful for the American people. And he's against the fact that it's going to be increasing the US's debt, possibly by trillions, right? He's not happy about all those different things. Elon Musk has expressed his dismay. I went over that yesterday, so I'm not going to go over all the details right now. But you guys know this, right? We were talking about this for many, many days. Musk has been against it for quite a while, right? And that's what kind of like fueled him to have a lot of disagreements with President Trump. Well, after Elon Musk was continuing to express his dismay and his distaste towards this bill that President Trump is so in support of, President Trump said this on Truth Social. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It is ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. So that's a really really big claim right over there about Elon. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good hard look at this. Big money to be saved. So that's a very very big claim that President Trump just made. So he's saying that perhaps Doge should take a look into Elon Musk's subsidies. That includes the Tesla subsidies, and he's implying that they could once again cut a lot of funding slash Tesla subsidies. That's kind of like what he's implying right over here. And it's going to save the government billions. That's what he claims. That's some very very big news. And obviously, Tesla investors don't like this because when you think about it, right, what really benefited Tesla was when Elon Musk and President Trump had a good relationship. Because even though not everything President Trump will do will benefit Tesla entirely, there are some very, very vital things about his presidency that really, really help Tesla, such as the way at which we're developing the robotaxi, the speed at which we get through regulations. Those things were very, very beneficial for Tesla. Now, without this relationship, that in turn caused Tesla to dump really, really hard. I'm sure you guys remember when Tesla just absolutely tanked after that news that Elon and Trump were having this big feud, and then all of a sudden, we're seeing something similar happening all over again. Now, President Trump is saying that he is looking into potentially cutting Elon Musk's subsidies. He wants Doge to do that. He's implying that, and he wants them to look into it. So that's big news, guys. That's going to be affecting Tesla to a large extent. So, not the best of news. I always hope that these two would get along and speak nicely to one another, but it looks like there are still a lot of, bitter feelings towards one another, and they're not happy with, a lot of different things. President Trump is in favor of his bill, but Elon does not favor it. He doesn't like it. And over that, they're continuing to argue things out. And this is once again very negative for Tesla stock. So their disagreements is negative for Tesla, and then the things that President Trump is saying about Tesla subsidies, what he's implying about them, is also quite negative for Tesla. And now that's a very, very negative catalyst. We are going to gap down. We're going to see how well Tesla can try to hold 300. If not, we will be expecting another leg down, and that could even take us to these lows if we continue to fall. So that's some big news. On top of this, we're seeing this all over the news, right? This is what's making the world news right now. More news that's very important is Jerome Powell. So Goldman Sachs is now expecting the Fed to make its next interest rate cut as soon as September. We'll see about that. Of course, it depends on inflationary numbers, but the big guy, Jerome Powell, is going to be opening us up today, meaning at 9:30 a.m. when the market opens, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. So get ready for some volatility. Maybe I would say it's more likely we chop at this time. The overall market may chop, but Tesla is very, very weak. I was even talking about this yesterday. It's looking weak compared to the markets. And then the real volatility will likely come around 10 a.m. At 9:45, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, but at 10 a.m., we have the ISM Manufacturing Employment, new orders, prices, and the JOLTS job openings and job quits. So expect a big move at 10 a.m. At 9:30 a.m. when the market opens, I don't expect much. Powell will likely cause a lot of chop, but then this data right here is going to cause a very, very big move. On top of this, when it comes to President Trump and his tariffs, once again, we're seeing some frustration that's being expressed right now with the US and Japan trade negotiations. And there's some hurdles between India and the US. We'll see if we get a deal done by July 9th, though. But keep in mind, our Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has come out and he's warning that countries could be notified of sharply higher tariffs as soon as July 9th approaches. So be careful, guys. The deadline is approaching. Are we going to see President Trump extend the deadline or not? We'll see about that. But as of right now, July 9th is going to be the deadline. And we're going to see how that ends up affecting the markets. Besides that, the Senates are continuing to vote on the amendments of the President Trump's big beautiful bill. So it's still being debated upon. But keep in mind that their goal is to get it to his desk by July 4th. So we'll see if that happens. With that being said, that's your news update for now. So unfortunately, Tesla's looking very weak here. We have a left shoulder, the head, and then a right shoulder. Now, if you want to turn back to bullish, we got to get back above at least 307, then eventually the 310s. If we can't hold above that, we're going to likely continue to downtrend and continue to fall all the way down to 282, if not the low 280s, if we can't get bought back up. So, I want to see Tesla, if we can, try to hold 300 at the very least. Can we hold 300 and try some kind of balance move? If we can't do that, I think the odds are going to be favoring this level to be tested, basically the lower 290s. And if that doesn't hold, could be coming all the way down to where this wick is to 285. So not looking good. Like I said before, this resembles sort of like a head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, then right shoulder. And now we're just going to continue to fall unless we get back above 300. I do think Tesla's looking very weak with this news. But we'll see. Can we hold above 300 or not? If not, I do expect more downside. It's not looking too good. Even SPY is kind of dipping just a little bit. It's actually very flat. It's only down 0.25%, which is not much. When we open, we're going to chop a lot like this. But then once our data comes out, so Jerome Powell's opening speech will cause the chop. But then at 10 a.m., this data is going to cause a very, very big move, whether we break to the upside back up to the 620s, or if we get a rejection, start dipping back down to 612. I do expect something like that. Chop when Jerome Powell speaks, and then a big push either up or down, depending on the manufacturing numbers. On the QQQ, it's basically the same thing. We're actually completely flat in the pre-market. If we're bullish, so we're going to chomp around when Jerome Powell speaks, most likely. And then if we're bullish, you want to break 552 and start pushing higher. If you're bearish, you want to see us fill at 548. That's going to cause us to dip quite a bit more. We're kind of stuck in the middle, so give that some time. For the IWM, we're also kind of stuck in the middle. We're a little bit more bearish right here. We're going to see how this ends up reacting. Might dip a bit more and consolidate with Jerome Powell's speech. We're going to see if we bounce back up and try to get back above 217. If we break that, we're bullish. But if we lose 212, we're looking for a dump back down. We'll see about that depending on what happens with our data. So keep that in mind. For ES, we're pushing very nicely. Came super close to our 6280 to 6300 targets. May chop upon open, and we're going to see if this could break 62.80 to push to 6,300, or if we lose 62.16 to start dumping back down to the 61.80 area. We'll see about that just to be safe. NQ is kind of flat right here, so I do expect this to chop around a bit. So expect some chop. And then this is going to either break past 23,000 to be bullish or start dumping below 22,700 to turn back down. So make sure you watch that very, very closely. For the rest of these, same thing with Bitcoin. It's looking a little bit weaker, may consolidate, but there's going to be a risk of us dipping to 105,000. For Nvidia, we're choppy. I do expect us to chop around a bit. We need to break 160 to be bullish, but if we lose 154, we're bearish. I expect some chop and a potential dip as well. For Aapl, we pushed and rejected so far. Now it is still trying to push, so expect it to gap up and try to retest 208. But if it doesn't hold above that, we could turn back down to like 204. So that's going to be very important. AMD is a little bit weak right here. We're going to see if this could try to hold around this like 136 area. But then we're going to see if we bounce or not. Coinbase is a little bit weak. We have kind of like a head and shoulders. We're going to see if we hold above 345. If not, we could be dipping back down to like 320. Amazon is going to be testing 217. We need to hold this. If not, we could be dipping lower. Look for a test of 217. See if buyers defend their back to the 220s. If not, we dip more. Meta has a gap to fill around 733. We got to hold this, or else we could be dipping lower all the way down to like 726. And Google may retest 175 to 174, and we'll see if we bounce or not. Microsoft is kind of flat right here. We're going to see if we end up breaking 494 into dip, or if we break 500 to push. We're kind of in the middle, so give it some time. And then overall, we're kind of stuck with the VIX. If this holds above 17.27, we're looking for a bigger push, so give this some time. With that being said, guys, I thank you all so much for listening. The market is going to consolidate once the big guy starts speaking, but then when the data comes out, I do expect a big move in either direction. Market's looking a little bit weaker, and then Tesla is not looking too good. We need to try to hold above at least 300 for there to be some hope that this will hold up and maybe try to bounce. If we can't hold above 300, though, there's going to be a risk of us continuing to fall. And I do think this is looking kind of bearish. We favor downside. We have deliveries coming out very soon as well. That could also be affecting us quite a bit, so be ready. But for now, we're looking weak. So I just want to be very, very blunt about that. Anyways, thank you for listening, and peace out.